What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Chris Lee TV, back again with another interview today. I have TaNeshia Reed, the legacy builder. What she does is she is in the insurance field. I'm going to let her tell you more about what she does and what she does for truckers. So, everybody, this is Miss TaNeshia Reed.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Chris, for having me. I am the legacy builder and the owner of Long Haul Life. And my job is to serve business owners inside of the trucking industry. My focus is retirement planning and business succession planning.
Okay. And let's see. So, like one of the things that I'm really big on is the life insurance. And I saw that on your page when I followed you. And I think I reached out to you and I was like, well, you're like, I love your niche because for me, that is a huge thing in the trucking industry as far as like making sure that we're able to provide for our families, whether we're here or not. I know when we first start driving, we don't make a whole lot of money. And I
Mhm.
feel like having life insurance is like one of the foundational things to like starting your financial literacy journey.
Absolutely.
But what made you want to do something like this, right?
So, being quite frank, I got into the insurance industry. It was actually the seminar was on financial literacy, and I was like, man, my people need to know this information. So the reason why I even got into the trucking industry, or at least serving the trucking industry, was because I was like, I want a piece. I want a piece. This industry, no matter what happens to the economy, this industry is going to consistently run. So I was like, okay, well, how do I serve them best? And I love this industry because it allows for a lot of our people to be able to thrive with not as much education, so you don't have to go to college, and you
Mhm.
could have made a mistake, had a felony, and you can start your life over and make good money. So I was like, well, how do I do my part to help these people who have invested in themselves and help them to keep this money going so that not only do they serve themselves and provide the best life for themselves, but leave a legacy for their family.
True. So I see on the screen we have the Legacy Builder, and we also have LHL, Long Haul Life. So can you give me some more background in that? Like, do you have family that's in the trucking industry, or is that just something that you started on your own?
I do have a couple of cousins that are in the industry. Not exactly distant cousins, so it's not close. But like I said, we get into the industry. No one directly to me. It was more or less because I understand the power of no matter what happens to the industry, everything has to be shipped,
For
and
sure.
the way to transport something is on the truck. So I said, okay, let me serve them. And like I said, my background was supposed to go into educating my people inside the industry.
So which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Which came first, the insurance side or you being well both like I'm sure you have your own insurance agency and you just okay.
Yeah,
So
my own
like
insurance agency. It was a different name before, and I switched the name. Well,
yeah.
I'm doing a DBA based on Long Haul Life is a DBA, focusing just on trucking, and that's my focus.
Okay. So which came first, the insurance agency or the trucking company?
No insurance agency.
Yeah.
I don't have a trucking company. I only serve the trucking industry.
Oh, okay. So LHL is actually the insurance agency.
Exactly.
Understood. Okay. So long haul life.
The
I
whole
like
whole
that
goal
name.
is for you to turn your head around and say, "Oh, you're in the trucking industry. Oh, do you own a truck? No, I serve the truck."
That's awesome
Yeah, that was it.
because
Thanks to my
like,
marketing consultant Chastity, she told me because
yeah.
my name of my company was the Life Protection Agency initially, and she was
Okay.
like, "They're not gonna know what you do." In the truck.
Right.
So because this is my niche, only trucking. Call me only if you're a trucker. Well, only if you're in the transportation industry. So I'm dealing with dispatchers, brokers, and everything.
Yeah.
Um, and to dive in a little bit more specifically, what I do when I say retirement planning, what sets me apart, not only that I'm the only one inside of the industry that's doing it, but I tap into your why. Why is it that you even got into the trucking industry in the first place? What is the lifestyle that you actually want for yourself and your family? Like you got to dive in because insurance is something that's it seems like a theory, like, oh, I may use it one day. Oh, this needs to be something that is like essential and it's like your electric bill. Like you don't skip over this payment. This is to set you
Right.
up. This is to protect your assets. So for me, retirement planning, you as a business owner, you don't have a retirement plan that's set in place already. You know what I'm saying? You have to establish that. It's not so what's the part of your salary? First, are you even paying yourself? And then what percentage of what you're paying yourself are you going to put set aside to establish your retirement plan? Because if you don't plan for it, it's going to come and you're going to continue working. You burn yourself out. But the whole reason why you become an entrepreneur is to get your time back. So how do we get that time back? How do we establish that and create that system? And then the other side is business succession planning, which is what happens to your business if something happens to you. Like that plan needs to be in place. If you are a solo owner, like how do you plan on passing this on? Do you want this to be passed to your kids?
Mhm.
Um, is it in writing? Do you have a will and trust? If not, what are the different strategies on that? Do you have a key manager that's essential to your business? And if something happens to them, how is your business affected? Like say that you have a key manager and they're running, you have a brokerage and you have dispatch side, and maybe they're running both sides or anything like that, where it's like I need them. Think of how much you're paying them, and then think of how much you're profiting off of what they do because they have a value. So if you lose them, it's going to be hard to find another them. So sometimes what you'll do is you'll get key person's insurance, get a policy on them through the business, and the business is the beneficiary. And when something happens to them, then what you'll do is you'll get that money back, and then the money keeps running. The operations keep
Right.
running, like nothing ever happened while you're finding that key person to fill their place. Um, it's a little something, but it gets deeper. Partnerships.
It gets deeper than that.
Oh, it gets deeper than that. Say you have a partner. Say me and you are
Yeah.
partners, right? And I like it better when it's three people. So say it's three of us, right? And you can either do it one or two ways. There's a you have a buy-sell agreement that's put in place. Now, you may have a partnership agreement that already kind of states what happens to the business, something happens to you. But in a
Mhm.
buy-sell, this is written by your attorney. So you need three people on your team to do your business success plan. You need an attorney to make sure they write out the buy-sell agreement. You need an accountant to actually evaluate what your business is worth, and you need a life insurance agent to actually fund the policy. So when you have the buy-sell agreement, there's two. There's an entity agreement and then there's a cross purchase agreement. The entity agreement means that the business owns the policies on all three of us, right?
Mhm.
So if something happens to us, the business is the beneficiary and it pays out towards the heir of that person's interest. So now that your kids or your wife or whoever's not even in the industry, they're not a burden on the business. But we
Mhm.
give them what they're due because of your business interest, because we have already evaluated what the value of the business is. The other side with a cross purchase is I have a policy on you. I have a policy on you and the third person. You have a policy on me and the third person, and then that person has a policy on me and you.
Mhm.
Something happens to us, we buy out their interest and pay out the family. So our interest ends up becoming 50-50 compared to the business getting that additional interest. The same thing goes. We buy them out so we can keep the operations going. Instead of going into the operational costs, we have that funding input to the side. So
Yes.
if it's the early business, but especially in the first 3 years, that's really big because you don't have any cash value really established in your business. So it's best to fund it like insurance policy.
I love that. That is really awesome. That's a little farther ahead than some of where my audience is. I do a lot of like CDL. I help people get their CDL and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I love like I'm hip with what you're talking about because I read a lot of books, and what got me interested in like getting a life insurance policy I think was the book The Millionaire Next Door, or like The Millionaire by 30, one of
Mm-hmm.
the millionaire books, and that was part of what they used to I guess help them with their, like you said, like the legacy building and things like that. So I think that is amazing. Like just even being like knowing stuff like that is actually done and it exists. Like I love hearing stuff like that because that it's just like something that's not talked about. Like you said in the beginning, that's something that's not talked about. That
Mhm.
it's kind of like it's behind a veil, it's behind a door. We're not behind the doors where we hear things like that. Like that stuff is so important. Like if something does happen to, like you said, one of those individuals, there are contingencies in place
Yeah,
so that everything keeps going. And they're not, it's not just like for the business, but even for the family of the person who had the unfortunate cause of death, right?
yeah,
So when you're thinking about business, and not to be like, um, I don't want to be looked at as someone who thinks like, death is going to happen to everybody.
absolutely.
But being prepared for everything, like as much as we can, like that's what I like about what you do is you help people be prepared for. It's not even the unknown. Like that's the most known thing.
Known thing. Yeah, that's the one thing we know
Like,
for sure is going to happen, and that's the one thing, especially in our community, that we don't like to talk about. It's
yeah,
something like we're jinxing ourselves, and it's like
right,
no, that's why we're so far behind because
for
we didn't have
sure.
that plan in place. These whole GoFundMe's and fish fries and everything. Look now,
Right.
get you a policy and stop playing.
Yes.
And if you can't leave something for your kids or do certain things for your kids while you're alive, leave them something else. Start them off. I don't care how old your kids are. It's never at an age where you can't get a jump up or a new head start or be
Hmm.
able to have an investment into a business that you can build. Like even with these being just see them looking to become getting their CDL license with you, these are seeds that need to be planted for the mindset that needs to be established to become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's full circle, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to be able to pass this down or at least have your kids benefit off of your hard work.
Right.
We're not working for nothing.
No, definitely. What are some of the things that you think? Because I have like my list of like the foundational things as far as like what you need to be an entrepreneur, and I think like on my list is like something that you provide is life insurance. That's like one of the biggest things on my list.
Right.
If you could provide a list of like the foundational things a new entrepreneur would need to be successful, as far as like laying the foundation, right? What would your list look like?
I would definitely say have a coach.
Mm,
That's huge because
yeah,
you want to buy people's mistakes. For me, that's the only thing that's hard for the position that I am. I don't have anybody who's done what I'm doing right now. So I'm
mhm,
like planning each step slowly, content. How do I make sure that I'm able to hit the market I'm looking at? How do I communicate effectively that I'm breaking it down so it's understood? I'm saying the people that are not in the industry.
mhm,
And it's little things and once when it comes to making sure your business is protected somebody has made those mistakes already.
right.
Why go through them, bump your head when you can just alien whatever it is that they have that they're asking for because people's time is valuable and I do respect people's time.
Yes.
Um, so pay with whatever they're asking for, but you're buying the mistakes that they made, not that everything was perfect because it's
Mhm,
not going to be perfect. It's going to be hard. So
yeah,
pay for a coach. I have a marketing consultant. I'm paying her because I'm trying to do Instagram and stuff and act like I know what I'm doing and you try and then you wonder why followers aren't going and you're not getting engagement.
mhm,
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane and hire people to do everything else.
yep,
That's key for me. And what else? Make sure you just stay refreshed on what's going on in your industry.
yes,
Um, Whatever insurance is necessary. Mine is a little unique. Life insurance isn't one of those insurances that's like you need this to operate. But like I said, if you don't, as I feel, you don't already have a retirement plan in place, so you have to create that. And your business can't be your retirement plan. Business will pay for every single day, so
mhm,
that can't be the plan. We have it where your life insurance plan actually can pay you out every month or annually, depending on how you want to set it up, just like your 401k would do. Or
yes.
so
That's wonderful. You mentioned that you have to stay up on your game. So, as an insurance provider, I don't know if I'm saying that in the correct term, but how do you do that?
Well, for me, so I work through a marketing company.
Hmm.
So we have different seminars every week on what's going on in industry, what's going on in the in finance from overall. So that's how I stay up on the game is internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I also wanted to ask, like, with what's going on now in the world, how has that affected like your business and also the policies that you're putting in place for different drivers or, like you said, dispatchers or brokers?
Mhm.
Is there are there now like new terms or are there anything that's changed? Is there anything that changed in the industry?
Something that has been is really how do I say that? The one thing is they ask COVID questions now. So they're going to ask either about COVID, have you had any exposure to it?
Hmm.
But now it's anybody that's a table 4 or table 6, anywhere through there, which means they have a little more health ailments.
Hmm.
They're not accepting them. They're like, wait till next year and see if we'll reevaluate when we take them now because we would usually take them, but unfortunately right now it's too risky. I had a client who was on immunosuppressant drug, and though she had no case where she had to go to the hospital or be treated in the last couple of years,
Hmm.
because she was on the medication and it's going to lower her immune system, they
Hmm.
won't approve her. So little things like that, because of the pandemic and the virus going around the way it is, if they think that you may be more susceptible to getting it, they are watching and being careful of approving you right now.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. But I understand that's how insurance companies work. That's how they cover the how they CYA, right? And what I'm like familiar with is that like I've never heard. I guess what I've heard is like it's just like if it is an issue that it will potentially cost more. So you're saying that they're not even going to provide any type of insurance for just based off of not being able to fight the virus properly.
Right.
Wow.
There are some cases like you can have health ailments and it will cost more.
Hmm.
But there are certain cases where they're like, I don't want to take a chance on it. Try us back in 6 months
Okay.
and see if where we are as a country regarding different regulations.
Right.
Um,
And from what we're seeing, I don't think 6 months is going to be the
yeah,
end
so
of it.
it's really the sooner you can get in, the better. Don't
Yeah.
wait because and the other thing that's really, really big, be honest with your insurance agent. You
Hmm.
have to be very transparent with your insurance agent. It's almost like having an attorney. I can't protect you unless I know what's really going on.
Right.
So if you lie, it's going to pop up. It's going to pop up, and now you got a decline on your record, and it works kind of like credit. When
Mhm.
something bad pops up on your credit, something bad pops up on your MIB, they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Okay, we need to understand why you were declined before we
Right.
move forward. And depending on the situation of decline, some companies, if you mark decline on the application, you're automatically going to be denied.
Mm.
So I would need to know, okay, I would need to, also, have you ever been declined and why? Okay, well,
Right.
let me go to a company that will dig a little deeper so they can say, well, even though you were declined, we don't mind this situation. We'll go ahead and approve you. That's why you have to be honest.
Understood.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most popular policies that you write or underwrite?
My favorite is the IUL, Index Universal Life.
Yes. So tell me why. Tell me why, please.
Tell you why. Index Universal. So with Index Universal Life, I like to compare it to the stock market, right? And this is why I also use the same vehicle when I'm doing the retirement planning. Stock market goes up and down. You have going directly into the stock market, you get the really high highs, you get really low lows. And
Hmm.
the really low lows is the scary part because, like your 401k, you have no idea. You cannot plan what you're going to have for retirement because the market is so up and down. You have no idea where your money is and where it's going. And then it's tax after. Going into an IUL, your money is pre-tax. So when it comes out for retirement, there's no taxes coming out. So you already have a ballpark. And then with the S&P 500, though it is in the stock market, with the IULs, there's a cap and there's a floor.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some policies that have a floor of 0%, which means that if the stock market goes into the negative, you are safe with the floor of 0%. It won't go into the negative.
Right.
You'll be able to, you just won't be able to lose. You just won't lose your investment, which is
Right.
the part. You may now some people you have to explain IULs correctly because some people are like, well, it went down. Well, your cost of insurance went up inside the policy. Maybe you still have to pay that, but really it didn't go into the negative. You just didn't make as much interest on your money as usual.
Right.
People have to be able to show that they're reading that. So some people don't like IULs, and that's because they're not properly explained most of the time. So you have to make sure you're with an agent that even if they have access to IULs, they actually understand it to be able to explain it to you properly because they can write it for a check. But that's me. I write for relationships, and I actually care that you understand it. I explain it down to the core. So then you have again. So I have policies, that have a cap of 10%. So when the market goes up, yeah, it might have been 20%. You might have got that playing in the market, but where there's high rewards, there's great risk. So now you have a safer vehicle to be able to experience the market, as well as not having as much of a risk of, you don't have the risk of losing your investment into it. So you can better calculate what it is that you're going to have in retirement, as well as we do it at a interest rate when we show you what your potential retirement is. That's very comparable because it's based off of the last 20 years that the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And yeah, so then you also have to decide that the IUL has living benefits. With living benefits, you have heart attack, stroke, cancer, ALS, and major organ failure, and a couple other things that are listed.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is they'll accelerate your death benefit while you're alive. Now, the percentage is based off of what your life expectancy is and your age at the time of how much they're going to give you. But you can go ahead and use some of that money while you're alive to work for you to pay bills, pay doctor's bills, stuff like that, because it's more expensive to get sick than it is to die. Yeah. And we want, but it really is. It's way more expensive to get sick than it is to die.
Understood. So I just wanted to throw some things out about the index universal life insurance that I've heard, and that where like the contribution, the more you contribute, like the higher. What is it? I've heard about something like as far as like the contribution, like you want to contribute a lot of money to the IUL to make it work the proper way, right?
Yeah, you can do that, but that's really based off of what's going on with that's based on the government and on how much you can put into it before it's taxed. So you have to make sure you have a policy that is met, that isn't met, which is a modified endowment contract, which if it goes that if you have that on your policy, which you have to be careful of, you could be liable to paying taxes on that life insurance policy when it's paid out. So you have to be careful of that. So like a lot of people like to compare it to the IRA.
Gotcha.
And when you are comparing it to that, yeah, they have a cap of, I think, of like 55, sometimes you go around 6,000, something like that. Well, your cap is higher inside of IUL based off whatever your death benefit is. So you can overfund it to make it last longer and grow more cash value. But you have to double check with the agency each year to figure out what is the max that you can put in the policy so that you won't be taxed.
Understood. And you were saying earlier about being able to borrow against the IUL just a little bit. I don't think you use those terms, but like for medical issues that you have with the IUL, you can borrow against it. Is there anything else you can use?
Yeah, that's different. So with what I was saying earlier was the accelerated death benefit. So that's
Okay.
based off of your health. So it's two. You have a cash value that's built that you can actually borrow against. Um, you, what you're doing is actually taking a loan against the policy, but
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be paid back. And based on whatever the interest rate is when you take the money out, prayerfully during that time, the interest rate that's on there that is currently on there that year will be higher than that, so that you're not really losing anything and it's still growing as if nothing was taken out. So with that, the cash value you're borrowing against it comes from the cash value, whatever's there. Once there's cash there, you can take it out, but I like to warn you to do it anywhere from 10 to 15 years. You want it to build up just
Mhm.
like you would your 401k. You want it to build up and the money stay there. You don't want to prematurely start taking money out before it really gets moving and building cash value in it. But the accelerated death benefit, if something happens to your health, that comes out at your actual death benefit. So the number's larger for that.
Understood. So with some of the policies, like I know that there's so many different policies, and you were saying like with the index universal, but with like retirement, and you were saying something about like 401k, there's like a lot of different things that you want to get life insurance for. Um,
Right.
like what can you go into more depth about that?
So with your life insurance policy, you want to make sure you have more. So some people think that this is a one-time deal.
Hmm.
You only get one policy and you set for life, but it really changes
Right.
as you have more kids, as you have more assets, as your net worth as a person increases. You want to get more insurance to cover. So what you want to do is based on that, assess the strategy. And this is what your insurance agent, assessing the strategy that's best for you per situation. So like I have a policy that I have for myself just for my health. Like literally, I'm only going to use that policy to pull from the cash value or pull from my accelerated death benefit if something happens to me. Then I have a policy I've established for myself that has a retirement. As no, actually, that one is for my kids. So the death benefit is going to be heavier. Cash value isn't going to grow as much. Then I have a policy I'm probably going to do next year on myself, which is going to be my retirement policy, which is
Hmm.
going to grow a lot more cash, and it's going to have a cutoff date of when I stop paying for the policy and when it will pay out annually or monthly. A policy pay out to me just like your 401k could do. So having a policy for each situation, you need to know when you have your policy, okay, what is the strategy that they're using? Is it heavier on the cash value or is it heavier on the death benefit for my family? And the older that you are, that's why it's important to get the policies earlier. Once you cross like that 48, 50 threshold, especially for men,
Hmm.
that cash value heavy policy, you're going to pay a lot for. So your strategy is going to be switching for being for your
Hmm.
kids. Even though you can use it for your retirement fund, you won't be able to get that benefit as much as if you're a little bit younger, getting it at a better rate where
Right.
your value will be able to go heavier for you.
Okay. So you were saying like I've heard of what is it like a HSA, right? Like a health savings account.
Mhm.
And you're also talking about like the accelerated death benefit, being able to use that, if I'm saying it correctly, for some of your health issues. Is there like, do you prefer that over something like an HSA, or like
I
using?
don't know about the HSA to be honest with you. I have to
Okay.
learn. I don't know about that yet.
Okay. Well, like even with the 401k, right? Do you recommend a life insurance policy maybe over a 401k in some instances or things? You know what I'm saying when it comes to retirement?
So for me, because I don't want to speak against 401ks for people that have them. What I will say is to tax diversify. So don't put in your 401k more that they're going to match. Even though
Hmm.
I tell people whatever they're matching, if the market crashes, the money that they match you at is going to go too.
Right.
But if you're going to have one because of that benefit of them matching, then what you want to do is don't put anything over that, and any access that you would use, put that towards a life insurance policy
Right.
so that you can tax diversify, because that money that will be coming out comes out totally different at the tax bracket level. The
Yeah.
other thing that's pretty cool about your life insurance when you establish it in retirement is that it doesn't affect your social security at all
Hmm.
compared to your 401k will. They will assess your social security based off of the income that's coming out of that 401k. But in your life insurance policy, because it is a life insurance policy, it won't affect you as an income.
Yes, that's awesome. Wow.
Also, if it's protected if you get a divorce. Now I know I don't want to preach
Whoa.
divorce, but you
Hold
know,
on.
it's those things that when you get sued, whatever in that life insurance policy, nobody can come for that.
And also in the event of a divorce is what
Hmm.
you're saying. Wow.
Yeah, and even in the event of divorce, you just want to make sure you switch that person as your beneficiary. Take them off.
Yeah,
That's all you got to do.
definitely. Wow, this you're so like I appreciate how knowledgeable you are, and I'm not as knowledgeable, and you being able to just help me understand like what this really like more about this subject is just like I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it a whole lot.
No problem.
Yeah. Um. So two more things. And my thing is like not to be uh negative or mean, but like people, I feel like life insurance like bores them, right? Or like you said, they don't know anything about it. Like when I found out about it, and that, like I said, when I talked to you, I was just like, oh my god, like I gave you energy because it's something that I'm interested in. How do you keep the conversation and keep that energy in something that you know what I'm saying people don't put much energy into?
I like to say, I know insurance is not sexy at all. So
Right.
that's why I'm very particular about my content. Um,
Mhm.
for one, for me, is showing who I am. So for mine, I'm going to start with a little music, have a little jam session real
Yeah.
quick, and then I'm getting you nuggets. So
Mhm.
before I start working with people, I'm not even saying, hey, I want you to be a client. Right now, I'm just sending to my Instagram page so that you can see that you're getting knowledge all the time, just little nuggets. Like, okay, this succession plan I posted the other day. Um, for your business success level, what are the three people that you need on your team? Because people don't think I need a team of people behind me backing me for my business. It's not a me thing. You're self-employed. You're not a business owner at that point. You're
Right.
self-employed, and we don't become entrepreneurs to do everything. The whole goal is to have your freedom. So these little nuggets of how it's going to help build your lifestyle, which is why I'm tapping into people's why. Why are you in the industry in the first place? Why? What drives you every time that you go out there on the road? What drives you to establish this business? What is
Mhm.
the lifestyle that you want for your kids?
Mhm.
That is in my mindset. It's not life insurance. I'm not even talking about life insurance half the time. I
Yeah.
want to know what is motivating you to go, and I'm using life insurance as the vehicle to make that happen.
Yes. I like that. And that is something that motivates us truck drivers is providing for our families. And that's what motivated me is like just like I said, just being able to do even if I'm not here, I'm still here. I'm still providing for my family. The next thing is like I have a policy on my son. What do you think about insurance policies on children?
Oh, they're necessary. Because it depends on what is it that you're trying to do. What are you looking to what is your vision for your family? Is
Hmm.
it for them to go to college? Is it for them to be entrepreneurs?
Hmm.
Um, the younger you are, the cheaper the policy is.
Right.
And then you can, like you said, max them out. You could get a larger policy on them, and they'll have that policy for the rest of their lives. Maybe you're going to start their retirement plan early. Because the
Right.
earlier you start, you just really don't know when you're going to get these ailments. People get ailments at ages that you just don't expect. Like I have a friend at 28 had congestive heart failure. That's why. How is anybody you and we feel like we're invincible at a certain age. It's like before you turn 30, especially, I'm not getting nothing. You think that you're unstoppable, but you just don't know when you may become uninsurable. So
For
the
sure.
earlier you get the policy, the better. You can build up their college fund. You can build
Hmm.
up their investment for their first business, their first truck, their first car, their first house.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what other cultures are doing. That's why they have stuff way earlier. We need to invest in our kids so that the legacy keeps going.
Yes. And I don't
Never.
think people understand like that is an investment for your kid. Like not even monetary. Like well, it's monetary, but it's just like you're putting them on that path to where they have to think about like why did they why why do I already have a foundation for my life already built,
Absolutely.
right? So you
Absolutely.
go back and you think about stuff like that. Like, what are they've had a life insurance policy, like you said, it has that negative connotation to it, but it has also a massive benefit when you understand everything behind it.
Absolutely.
And that's just like, I think it's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to provide things like that. Like, even for your son or your daughter, like just being able to set that foundation, give them that knowledge at like such a, like you said, at the beginning, and them growing up and just having that there is
Right.
just like, you're giving them a, a good start to life, right?
Absolutely. And see, even though my target are business owners inside the trucking industry, I
Hmm.
will do truckers as well. But not only that, I will do you guys as family. You know, say I'll do your
Yes,
household, your family to make sure you guys are covered as a whole as well.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, but my focus is trucking, but your family as a whole being covered is important to me. So I'm looking at, even mortgage protection. Do you need mortgage protection on your home, or how do we add that in to make sure it's good? Because I would use preferably a term policy with living benefits on it with um, a possible return of premium on it as well, especially if you're younger. These are things that we can protect you all the way around. My
Mhm.
my end to get you in is understanding the time frame, the success plan, but I can cover you as a whole.
That's wonderful. I don't want to take up too much of your time on the weekend. I know you have things that you have to do. I want to know, like, what do you think the future looks like for our community, and like, what do you think that we can like do better? Like, what are something we can do to get this word out to help people understand that this isn't like a bad thing to have, right?
Or you can come follow me, the Legacy
Yeah.
Builder. Like I said, I'm gonna be dropping nuggets all throughout the week, every week, to make sure you understand the importance of life insurance. Even though I'm not going to present it as that, it's going to be a little bit more colorful, but understanding how we can tap in and use this vehicle to benefit our futures. We, like I said, don't work for anything. We work and got into this industry because there's a lot of money to be made, and we can do a lot more for our families, and
Mhm.
we can build legacies, and we can travel the world, and we it just sets us up for so much more. So one thing that I find is key is build your business as if you can one day sell it. Let's
Okay.
stop building businesses again to be self-employed. You need to be
Yeah.
able to step away from your business at some point. So how do you do that? Make sure you're properly insured. Make sure your paperwork is right,
Right.
and make sure that the key players that are in your business are covered as well. So that if something happens to them, again, even if they step away from your business, you can cash out on that as well. So yeah, just make sure you're protected. Protection is everything. Protect your assets. Your
Yeah.
business is the asset, and you're the greatest asset to your business.
You preaching. I think this is wonderful. This is a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to me about this. Can you tell the people where we can follow you, Miss TaNeshia Reed? Where can we follow you? What do you need us to do?
You can be follow me on Instagram at the Legacy Builder. You can follow me on Instagram at Truckers Insured, the number 4 life. The website is www.truckersinsured, the number 4 life. And you can go on Facebook and YouTube. I got
Oh, you have a YouTube channel too?
it's three videos on there.
Okay.
They're really just so they can go straight to my website. So really, if you go to my
Yeah,
website, you'll see them on there. That's the Legacy Builder. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you so much again for coming on.
yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you. You have a good weekend.
So,
All right, y'all. It's your boy Chris Lee TV, and this has been another episode. We're signing out. Deuces.